Hi, this is CJ. Welcome to The First Snow. Join Jimin and Jungkook for a night filled with fairy lights, mulled wine, and magic at the Village Christmas Fair. If you've been enjoying this channel, the audiobooks and podcasts here, please subscribe. We are so close to an important milestone. It really would be the best Christmas gift for us ever. Remember, if you're watching as well as listening, to hit the CC button to turn on subtitles. YouTube can auto-translate and also auto-dub the audio from English into the language of your choice. So grab yourself a mug of something warm and get cozy. I hope you enjoy this story.
That's part Jimin, Jungkook thinks. He can tell even from the back of his head. The impeccable posture and the graceful curve of his neck. It's definitely the leader of the dance team, and Jungkook's long-term crush. He isn't sure why Jimin is sitting on the train 3 rows ahead of him, but it's the only bright spot in his day so far, so he'll take it. After nearly an hour and several more stops, Jimin stands and moves toward the door at the same time as Jungkook. He's busy on his phone and doesn't look up. Jungkook wonders who it might be that's lucky enough to have parked Jimin's number and be able to talk to him every day, even on weekends like this one, but doesn't speculate further. Jimin is so popular, it would be impossible to guess. The pair file through the open doors of the train and onto the platform, Jungkook following behind, but too shy to say hello. He was pretty sure Jimin wouldn't even recognize they went to the same school so far out of the city like this. It started to go dark, and the Christmas decorations around the station blink red and green around him as the train doors close again. Shifting his backpack onto this other shoulder, he looks around the station for the sign that points to the exit. It isn't hard to find. The station is small, tiny really, as expected for a rural location, but it's a popular enough tourist destination that things are well signed. Posted. Jungkook can see why it's popular. For a day trip out with family or friends, it's nice enough. Even better if you were there with a romantic partner. The village was nearly as busy on Valentine's Day as it was at Christmas. But obligation has a nasty way of stealing the joy out of anything. He's enjoyed being here before, but having to come for a class assignment made the whole thing decidedly less special. Part of his brain wonders what brought Jimin here, while the rest of his attention is on bringing the project directions up, because he's only ever driven here with his family and never before arrived by train. He's just clicking on the map icon when he runs into the back of someone stopped in the middle of the exit. "I'm so sorry," he apologizes instinctively, reaching down to pick his phone off the ground. He dusts it off and shoves it in his pocket, thankful the screen hasn't broken because he really can't afford to get it fixed right now. No, it's my fault. I shouldn't have stopped in such a busy place, but I'm a bit lost and... Jungkook. Oh my god. Park Jimin knows his name? Jungkook looks up, eyes wider than any dough, and his throat goes dry. His hesitation must have been misinterpreted because the angel of his dreams continues on quickly. "Oh, sorry. I'm Park Jimin. We go to the same school," he explains as he holds out. It's small and cute, and a bit red from the cold. Jungkook shakes it and lets go, even if he really doesn't want to. I know, he blushes. "You're the leader of the dance team, and you're the captain of the boxing team." Jimin smiles back. "We performed at one of your regional competitions. Congrats on winning, by the way." I know. Jungkook stammers, cursing inwardly for repeating himself. I mean, I saw your performance. You were really good." Good was such an embarrassing understatement. Jimin's solo was the subject of his dreams for weeks after. But he doesn't cringe because his gushing enthusiasm brings pink to Jimin's cheeks and his eyes crease up in a little crescents because he is smiling so widely. "Thanks. So, what are you doing here?" Jungkook quickly recovers his composure. He isn't normally so cripplingly shy and awkward. He even has a bit of a reputation around campus for being a bit of a playboy, but something about the dancer makes him weak in the knees. "I missed out on a school trip for my marketing class because of a boxing match, so I'm here to do a report on the Victorian shopping evening." "What about you?" "Same, but for history," he grinned. "I guess we're doing the same thing from 2 different perspectives." "Seems like it." And Jungkook thinks that's actually kind of cool. "I don't suppose you want to... I don't know what the goals of your project are, but if you want to walk around together..." Jimin looks relieved at the suggestion. "I'd love to. I've never been here before, and I'm actually a bit lost as to where to start. That's okay. I've been here loads. If you tell me what you need to see, I can help you find it. His chest puffs out a bit knowing he can help Jimin, and that he gets to walk around with a beautiful dancer, even if there is no one he knows around to see it. He knows Jimin is strong and smart, but it still feels nice getting the chance to be a bit protective of him. They exit the station and start walking towards the center of the village. The road is just a normal narrow street of houses, but the pavements are jammed with families and couples holding hands. In the distance, he can already hear the faint sound of music being played over loudspeakers. Hardly authentic Victorian, but it does add to the atmosphere. Jimin is at his side, bumping shoulders as they navigate the crowded path. Once he reaches out to hold on to Jungkook's arm as a mounted policeman trots past, and Jungkook can feel his heart flutter at the touch. He quickly realizes that Jimin is the type of person who revels in casual touches. Jungkook's pretty sure it's going to be the death of him each time it happens, and it happens a lot because Jimin clings to his arm every time Jungkook says something to make him laugh. And now making Jimin laugh is now Jungkook's only purpose in life. They stroll deeper into the village, past the fairground rides set up for small children and the tombola stall towards the river. Apart from the shopkeepers dressed in costumes, neither can see what is so Victorian about the event at all. Sure, from a marketing perspective, it's a great way of promoting the Chocolate Box Village, but historically, it's a mess. It's just a school project, though, and as they're both acing their classes already, neither takes it too seriously. They're just here to observe, not pass judgment on any of it. By the time it's fully dark and the village green is awash in gold from the lights spinning through the branches of the trees that line the adjacent river, they feel they have plenty of information for their projects and deserve a celebration. Jimin spots a cart selling mulled wine and huffs in righteous indignation as he gets carted for the sale of alcohol, and Jungkook, who is 2 years younger than him, doesn't. "It's only because you're so tall," he pouts, punching Jungkook playfully in the arm while the mustached man behind the counter ladles out 2 steaming paper cups. They smell of less of wine than sugary fruit, but the brandy in them has a deceptive hit, and they're soon both giggly and flushed in the cheeks. Being tipsy adds an extra sparkle to the night. Everything shines just a bit brighter, especially Jimin's smile. It makes Jungkook feel warm and brave, so he lets his hand linger just a bit longer on the small of Jimin's back as he leads him to a bench at the end of the village green tucked almost under the curtain of a weeping willow tree, still green from the mildness of this year's winter. They sit on the wooden slats, huddled close, and watch the chaos on the roped-off main street as Santa and his reindeer arrive. "I can't believe I've never been here before," Jimin says, eyes on the line of children queued up their brief audience with Santa. "It's really romantic." Jungkook nods and blows the steam from the top of his cup. He definitely doesn't need Jimin to tell him that. The whole evening has been like a dream to him. He wishes he had the courage to tell Jimin what it meant to be here with him, even if it is by accident, but a single cup of mulled wine doesn't hold enough courage for that. It is, "But I've only ever been here with my family. I've never really had the chance to be here with someone special here before." "Well, what about tonight?" Jimin asks quietly. When Jungkook looks up from his wine, he sees the dancer's eyes are full of something he wants to believe is hope, but Jimin might also just be taking pity on him and being polite, so he ducks his head and shrugs. "This is really nice," he admits. And if he's honest with himself, he can kind of tell by the way he's biting his lip that it's not what Jimin wants to hear. But Jungkook is just too afraid to spoil the evening by admitting he's had a crush on the dancer since he spotted him on his first day at the school 2 years ago. This evening might just be a flirty bit of fun for Jimin, and that's fine. Jungkook is grateful for any time he gets to spend with him, and tonight is more than he ever dreamed he'd get. But if it's all just going to be a memory come tomorrow, he would rather not ruin it with awkward confessions. "I wonder what it's like here on Valentine's Day," Jimin asks, not so innocently. There seems to be intention behind the question. He's looking at Jungkook with a heavy gaze, and his lips are stained a deep pink from the wine. In a romantic movie, this would be the time Jungkook leans in and tastes the sweetness of them. And he wants to? Well, he wants. But Jimin is elegant and graceful and so pretty, and Jungkook thinks he definitely couldn't be interested in someone whose primary sporting talent is hitting and being hit by people, so he doesn't take the bait. I don't know. I've never dated anyone seriously enough to bring them here. Jimin seems surprised by the admission. Really? I would have thought someone as handsome as you would have had lots of boyfriends. At least that's how it seems from seeing you on campus. It kind of hurts a bit when he says it, because he knows it's exactly what he has a reputation for, but that doesn't mean he wanted Jimin to think that way. And while he's aware that from the outside it definitely looks like Jungkook is hunting for quantity over quality, the reality of it is anything but. The reason he goes through so many dates is precisely because, even though he's young, he is seeking someone special to build a future with. The one. It's not his fault that none of them measure up to Park Jimin once he gets to know them. So he goes through many because he sees no point investing time in something that isn't perfect. He doesn't really care what the other students think about him, but it is important to him that Jimin knows his reputation is not who he really is. Still looking for the right one to settle down with, he admits unashamedly. Jimin doesn't reply at first. He finishes the rest of what's in his paper cup and sets it next to him on the bench. He probably thinks what Jungkook said is weird. Most people their age do. University is supposed to be about getting drunk and having sex with as many people as possible, he's told. But his parents got married young and are still blissfully happy, so he has never doubted that it's possible. He doesn't know everything he wants in life, but he knows he wants that. Jimin is still silent when Jungkook notices the first flakes drifting through the pools of light around them. It is cold tonight, but it has been so unseasonably warm so far that this is the first snow. In his heart, he knows that seeing the first snow of the year with someone holds special meaning, but he also knows his heart is different than most. When Jimin notices the dusting of white starting to land on his gloved hand, his face spits into a grin so bright all of the lights on the giant Christmas tree seem dim in comparison. It's snowing, he says in case Jungkook hadn't noticed. This is the first snow of the year. He's excited, nearly bouncing up and down on the bench. You know what they say about the first snow? And Jungkook knows. Of course he knows. But in all the years he's been dating, he's never actually been with someone he is romantically interested in during the first snow. Maybe that was fate, or maybe this is because seeing the first snow with someone like Jimin seems just about perfect. That if you see the first snow with someone you like, love will bloom between you into something true and everlasting. Jimin nods and moves a bit closer. Do you believe it's true? Well, I've never seen the first snow with anyone before, so I can't say for sure, but I want to believe it's true. There is something hanging in the moment that both of them can feel, but neither knows how to say until finally it's Jimin who finds the words. Jungkook, would it sound silly for me to say that even though you didn't even know me before today, I've had a crush on you for ages? Jungkook is stunned. Mouth open, speechless, kind of stunned, and again it's quickly misinterpreted. Jimin turns away and reaches next to him to pick up his paper cup to take it to the recycling, but his hand never makes it there. Jungkook swoops both of Jimin's small ones into his own. He would have done it much earlier if he would have known how cold Jimin's hands are, but at least they're there now, cradled tenderly in Jungkook's larger warm ones. I've known who you are for years, Jimin. Literally years. Since I first joined the university. You started the year late because of the accident you had. Your first day back you were wearing a yellow shirt and had the tattoo of the number 13 on your wrist was still red like it had been freshly done. Your hair was blonde then, and it suited you so perfectly I honestly thought it was your natural color. And on it spilled. Every early memory he had of Jimin, the times he heard him laugh, the first time he saw him dance. Maybe it was the pressure of having kept its secret bottled up for so long. Or maybe it was the magic of the first snow, but somehow Jungkook found the wellspring of courage to tell Jimin everything. It wasn't so much a confession as a river of memories, but with each one Jimin's smile wider until there were crystal tears shining in his eyes. You never spoke to me, he whispered. I thought you didn't want to know me, or weren't interested. Just the opposite. I was so afraid I'd say something stupid. Jimin, I've thought about ways I could confess to you probably 1,000,000 times a day, but none of them ever seemed good enough. You deserve better than some random guy coming up to you in the halls, rushing words out between classes. If I ever got the courage to confess, I wanted it to be perfect. You mean like here, watching the first snow of the year by a river sparkling with the reflection of Christmas lights. He leaned in closer, tucking his head onto Jungkook's shoulder. Jungkook could smell the mulled wine on his breath, sweet and warm. He slipped his arm around Jimin's waist, pulled him in against his side, and laid his cheek against the top of his head. His hair was brown now, but as silky soft as Jungkook always imagined it would be. Yeah, I guess this is kind of perfect, isn't it? He admitted. I can't take credit for any of it, though. Maybe you can? Jimin said quietly, tipping his chin up to look at Jungkook. Maybe it's all because you believe in the magic of the first snow. On the icy December night, the world continued in its Christmassy fervor. In a makeshift grotto on the village green, children were still clamoring on a Santa's lap, eager to whisper their Christmas wishes. Parents were still trying to quickly hide sneakily purchased last-minute gifts from market stalls manned by people in top hats and long velvet dresses. But under the willow tree by the river, time stood still as the fate lovers breathed into each other's space. When their lips touched, slightly sticky from the mulled wine and chapped from the cold, their destiny was sealed. They kissed until their hearts were warm. They kissed until their souls were finally open and all their feelings known fully to the other, while all around them the first snow continued to fall.
Thank you so much for listening. I know the world is a hard place right now, and I really hope this story brought a bit of comfort to your day. If you enjoyed the story, please remember to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new story is released. You can find the written version of this and all my stories on my Patreon for free at patreon.com/cjmoon. I love you. I purple you. Sarangay.